You want to get big.
You gotta think big, drink big.
The world's first formula to boost and drive anabolically active testosterone.
Explosive energy, enhanced endurance, and maximum performance.
Increase testosterone to maximum physiological levels.
Human performance. MHB supplement power.
The new NO Explorer. Push your limits. Then push further.
That's it. Let's cut the crap. Okay, first of all, why is there this informational gap between fact and fiction in the supplement industry? Well, at its core, I believe that one of the biggest reasons is the differences in regulation regarding the drug industries and the supplementation industries. You guys have to understand that the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, or for me, Health Canada, is extremely rigorous, and you're gonna have to go through years and several trials before you can even get started on actual human trials with whatever drug that it is that you are actually producing. And this is not the case with the supplement industry. You can jump through a lot less hoops and put out your product a lot faster than in relation to the pharmaceuticals industry. Muscle building formula, energy maximizing power, super generic word insert here, stuff that doesn't really make sense and stuff that you can't really arbitrarily measure. And unfortunately, whenever someone's trying to sell you something, you should always take what they say with a grain of salt, to say the least. So you guys might say, okay, fine, so if I do get supplements, I'm only gonna get them from reliable, popular companies. And that's great. That's a fairly surefire way to ensure some level of quality. But you guys have to understand that the supplement industry, because it's not very regulated, is extremely easy to get into. That's why anybody who's got 1,000 followers on Instagram can start his own supplement line and buy his products in wholesale bulk from some other supplement manufacturer. And you guys have to understand that at its core, it is a business, and any business, when it wants to stay competitive, especially with such an influx of competitors, is going to have to maximize profits and is going to have to minimize costs. And when you minimize costs, potentially decreasing the quality or the amount of product that you are actually offering, that is an inevitability. So besides the fact that it's not really regulated, you guys have to understand that marketing is a very big issue as well. And what's the biggest way of marketing? Sponsorships, athlete sponsorship contracts. Some of the athletes out there, now I say some because I want to avoid the generalization, will pretty much peddle bullshit right into you, to boost sales for whatever product it is that they are advertising, whatever company they are sponsored with. And sometimes that's not the case at all. There's actually one instance of an athlete that I know from a friend of a friend. I'm not going to say this person's name, because maybe his company doesn't want him saying this kind of stuff, but he really spoke the truth. He met my friend and he told him, like, I'm sponsored by this. He was at an expo and he kind of took him aside and said, you know what, man, like, to be honest, you need protein and creatine, all this other stuff. If you want to buy it, you got the money for it, great. Do you really need it? Nah. So I really respect that honesty, because he knows that like a lot of his fans are kids, 18, 20, 22, they're in school, they don't have 50, 60, $70 to dish out on something which is going to give you a 1 to 2% increase in muscularity. There's just no point. But on the other hand, unfortunately, there are athletes who will not do this, and they will tell you that everything they take is, amazing, and they swear by it, and they know for a fact that that's not true. In fact, there was an example of a bodybuilder about 2 or 3 years ago. Now again, I'm not going to say any names, but there was a bit of a controversy besides, another YouTuber, whatever. But he went on the record as to saying that, his training, his genetics, his supplements are more important, vastly more important, than the actual drugs he takes. And for the record, I gotta say, this guy is huge. He's like almost, 300 pounds? He's the size of a house. So to sit there and say that your steroids, your growth hormone, your testosterone, your insulin, whatever the hell that cocktail of crap you're taking is less significant than, some protein powder or some BCAAs that your like super loyal company gives you, that is bullshit. You guys have to understand that for these athletes, this is at times one of their main sources of income. So just like the company, their goal is to maximize profits. In fact, unfortunately, there is an example. This was referenced in a good movie, Bigger, Faster, Stronger. You guys should check it out on YouTube. of a certain fitness model, Christian Bovain, I think that's how I got his name. And he was asked, do you take anabolic steroids? And he said, he was very honest, which I extremely respect. And he said, yes, I do. And then some people said, wouldn't this be kind of counterintuitive, considering that you're advertising this product and you're advertising, this really helped you, attain this amazing physique? And he said, of course, yes, it is. And that's not untrue. It's just that I use this in association with something else, which happens to be steroids. And boom, he was fired, I can't remember how long, I think it was a matter of weeks or months after that interview came out, because he's not promoting this product as the be-all to end-all to, the way that he achieved his physique. And I'm really unhappy about that, which is part of the reason why I'm making this video. Because I never want some kid out there to take his $300, which for him is a lot of money, maybe it's his birthday money or something, go down to his local supplement store and spend every single penny on a bunch of supplements, 90% of which are not going to affect him, and he's just going to crap out anyway. The last negative point I want to say about the supplement industry is not exactly negative, it's just, once again, something you have to take with a grain of salt, and that's that because of this lack of regulation, companies can say things which wouldn't necessarily, fly in the drug industry. And examples of that you guys have definitely seen. You see a supplement and it says in big letters like approved by X amount of doctors or in rigorous studies done at the University of so-and-so. And I'm not saying that's untrue, but I'm saying that the studies aren't conducted under extremely rigorous methodologies which would pass for the drug industry. An example I read about that was concerning the supplement BCAAs. There was a study done, and it was shown that after taking a certain X amount of BCAAs, a significant amount of individuals saw increases in muscle mass and essentially the desired effect. But what the study failed to show is that the individuals who took this product actually had protein deficient diets before getting into the study. So you have to ask yourself, what is the defining variable in this study? Was it perhaps that they got into a caloric surplus? Was it perhaps that they just took excess protein as a whole? Or was it specifically the fact that they took this amount of BCAAs and nothing else? Not, several effects, in accordance with each other, but just this one supplement that they took. And unfortunately, some studies kind of leave that part, a little too vague for me.
Hey guys, sorry about that. The battery died in my camera. Plus I had a wardrobe change. Yes, I am wearing Christian Guzman's shirt. I am kind of a fan, and the material feels really good on my skin. Okay, but getting back on topic, I wanted to talk about the positive side of supplements, because I seem like kind of a, just negative and I'm just whining so much about it, and that's not exactly the case, because there's a lot of really good aspects to supplements if you get the right ones, at least in my opinion from my experience and the research I've done. Starting off, protein powder. This stuff works because it's not in the same category of supplements as things such as BCAAs and certain amino acids and test boosters and things like that, which are kind of like drugs, or so to speak. Protein is essentially food. It is an extract, in most cases from milk, or in the case of whey and casein protein. It's just giving you what your body can't get, because nobody wants to sit around and eat like pounds of chicken breast all day. I suck as a cook, so that stuff tastes like rubber by the end of the day. So whey protein, this is probably the most popular one. I'd say 90% of the protein out there is some derivative of whey, and two subcategories you have is the standard blend and whey protein isolate. The only difference is that isolate usually has a much higher protein count as a ratio in regards to other macronutrients, so it's going to have less percentage of fat, less percentage of carbohydrates, more protein. And this is especially good for guys like me, because unfortunately I'm a bit lactose intolerant. So in the case of whey protein blend, there's more lactose and galactose. And I'm not crazy, but like if I have like a glass of milk, then... So yeah, if I'm gonna be taking like 2 or 3 scoops of a certain protein powder a day, I would hope that that's not the case and there's less of this milk derivatives in there. Third choice is casein protein. The difference between casein and whey is that casein protein is slower digesting, and there's a slower time release of protein over time. So that's why it makes it a very popular choice for individuals before they go to bed. If you're going to be asleep for 7 to 8 hours and you want to avoid catabolism, you can take casein protein in a shake or whatever. You can naturally get it from cottage cheese, and that way you're going to have that slow time release of protein as you sleep. There are also other alternatives to protein, specifically coming from dairy sources. You've got beef protein. I think Carnivore, that red labeled supplement company that Kai Green is sponsored by, that's an extract of beef from what I remember. You've also got soy protein, like hemp protein, kind of stuff like that. I'm not really big on that because usually the people that go into that kind of stuff are, vegan, so they can't have anything from animals, or they're like super health conscious, or they just have some issue with getting it from, an animal or a milk source, and that's fine. I personally am not going to review anything on that because I've never tried it, usually probably because it's twice as expensive. Creatine, okay, this stuff is awesome, it's cheap, and it does work to a certain extent. There's two effects that are namely associated with creatine. The first one is you get a slightly, like an inflated look to yourself. That one's a little controversial, and if it does happen, it's a bit minor. The only difference being that creatine is very good at bonding with water, so it tends to pull water into your muscles and gives you that little bit of that inflated look, making you look a little bit bigger. This should not be misconstrued as a bloating effect, which some people believe it to have, because it actually pulls the water into the muscle as opposed to into the subcutaneous tissue, between your skin and your muscle, which would, hypothetically give you that bloated look. But seeing that's not the case, that effect I think is more so, a placebo effect in people's minds, and it doesn't actually happen. That's why people can stay on creatine, for months, even while they're cutting. They say like, oh, but I'm in competition mode. What's the difference? What? Oh no, I'm stronger and bigger. Oh, how terrible.
Okay guys, so for the second effect that creatine has, it actually is a little bit of an energy boost, and to explain that, I want to get a little bit into the bio behind it. So what you have here is ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. It's called tri because you can see there are 3 phosphate groups in this chemical. This is actually what your body uses as an energy transport mechanism. You see, your body has plenty of adenosine diphosphate, where there are 2 phosphate groups. This is essentially the unenergized version of ATP. And then using energy from glucose or carbohydrates, essentially sugars, it's able to create adenosine triphosphate. To bind that extra phosphate group, your body needs energy. Then it could take that transport molecule and, take it to wherever your body needs energy, whether it be your brain, whether it be your liver, your kidneys, your heart, or in this case, your muscles. Once ATP gets to its final destination, which in this case is your muscles, let's say you're doing a set of an exercise, it could break it down back to ADP, releasing that phosphate group and in a sense releasing energy, which is then used by your muscles. So that's where the magic of creatine comes in, because it could actually bind additional phosphate groups as phosphocreatine, bring it back to your unenergized ADP, reignite it with ATP, which your body can then once again break down and reuse as energy. It's almost a sense of energy recycling, allowing you to push further.
So this is why some people attribute creatine to giving you a little bit extra endurance. If you could normally do 8 reps on the bench with a certain weight, now you can do 9, 10, maybe you can squeeze out like 11. And who doesn't want more reps and potentially more endurance and strength in the gym? And it's crazy cheap. I mean, you can get it for I got 6 months supply for $25 Canadian. You don't have to get the super fancy kind. I know they have some fast metabolizing ones, creatine something, HCl, I don't know. Get the regular kind. I think it's called creatine monohydrate. It's the standard stuff. That'll be fine. Pre-workouts. This is an interesting one because it's entirely optional. I like to break it down to 3 kinds of people. The kind of people who are, they have issues with energy at times, maybe it be work, school, kids, stress, job, whatever it may be. And sometimes they're ready to work out up here, but they're not really ready to work out in their actual body, and they just need that little boost. And they need the best quality boost, so at that point they would refer to an actual pre-workout powder. Common ingredients are nitrous oxide or caffeine, beta-alanine. That's a popular one. That gives you that little tingly feeling, like there's your skin's on fire. Some people don't like it. Some people don't really care. Me personally, whatever. As long as I get the energy, I don't care if I'm a little itchy in my elbows. That's fine. It's not a big deal. It's the price you pay. There's a bunch of good ones out there. I've been using C4 recently from Cellucor. That's pretty good. 1MR is good. Jack 3D was pretty good until they made the main ingredient, which people liked it for. I think they made it illegal, or at least they made it technically a performance enhancer, meaning that theoretically you can take a pre-workout of that stuff and test positive in a drug test. So that kind of sucks. But you guys can try out whatever you want. The second group of individuals are the ones who want a boost of energy, but they don't really care if it has all these have you ever read the back of one of these labels things? There's it's like a little novel on the back. So you can theoretically just go to the store and buy caffeine pills. I mean, you can get 60 pills of 200 milligrams, which is about the same amount you would find in a pre-workout. You can get that for 10 or 12 bucks at your local Walmart or Drug Mart or whatever. And is it as good as a real brand name pre-workout? No, but it's, you know, it's not a bad, much cheaper alternative. So you can do that. Or you can just go and drink a cup of coffee, same thing. And then there's the third kind of people, the ones who are, you know, essentially lucky. Maybe they're the ones who have like a really healthy lifestyle. They always get perfect nutrition and perfect sleep. So they don't really ever have an issue with energy. And, you know, sometimes I've been in that case, you know, during the summer, and sometimes I'm not. So, you know, whatever works best for you guys. The last one I quickly want to mention is fish oils. This stuff is pretty good in the sense that it's not just used in the bodybuilding and fitness industry. It's just got overall health positives. Things like, you know, it can help lubricate your joints. It helps with like memory, cognitive function. It helps, you know, lower blood pressure. There's a bunch of things that are really considered extremely positive things, and there is a pretty good amount of research on it. So it's not one of the snake oil, as you would call it, supplements out there. And unfortunately, there are a lot of them out there. Okay, let's get a little specific on a couple of the ones that, you know, there's a bit of controversy on, and I personally am not a big fan of. Now, some of these I've tried, and some of these I haven't even bothered because I just don't see, you know, the actual science behind it, and I don't see the need. The first one is BCAAs. I've already mentioned that you know, the studies on them are a little funny, but another issue that I have is that if it's just branched chain amino acids, isn't that technically found in protein? And some people might say like, oh no, it's not the right amino acids, and it's not in the right amount, and it's not the right absorption. But I don't really see that. If you actually, you know, if I actually read the ingredient label, we got a regular Costco Protein right here. I get this for 4.5 pounds I get it for like $45 Canadian at the Costco. So it's pretty cheap, pretty standard stuff. It's just some like, you know, random brand. Okay, and I'm looking online at the nutritional label for a pretty popular company. Again, I'm not going to say actually any names. A pretty popular company's BCAA supplement. Okay, so per scoop there is 2.5 grams of L-leucine. Let's take a look at my trusty protein powder, and I've got leucine, 2.56 grams. So technically this stuff wins. Then we've got 1.25 grams of L-isoleucine, and where is it? What's going on here? There it is, 1.34 grams. Costco Protein wins again. And then 1.25 grams of L-valine. And what do we got here? Yeah, valine, 1.28 grams. Okay, so really, this, you know, random protein, which, you know, I bought like from a store, it's not even sold in like actual supplement stores like Popeyes or you know, GNC or something like that. It's got better, technically, amino acid proportions per one scoop. And not to mention, I'm probably taking, you know, 2, potentially even 3 scoops a day. So theoretically, you can be taking this stuff and getting all or more of the actual BCAAs that you would be in this supplement, which you would have to buy separately for 40, 50, 60 bucks, whatever it is. And you're gonna be taking like one little tiny 5 or 10 gram scoop. What's the point? Okay, the other one I wanna talk about is glutamine. This is one that I have actually tried myself, particularly because I have always had issues with recovery. I love working out. I want to be in the gym 7 days a week if I could. That's why sometimes I find myself doing gym days of like, oh, I'm doing forearms and calves or like abs and cardio or something. So I thought, you know, if I take glutamine, I could recover faster. I can work out at every body part, you know, 3, 4, 5, every 3, 4, 5 days a week instead of waiting, you know, once every 7 days. And so I took this, even though the science I knew beforehand wasn't that good. I thought, hey, I'll try it. What's the worst I'm gonna lose? You know, it's not too expensive. I think I got it for like 20, 30 bucks. And I thought if I notice actual, like, you know, considerable increases in recovery time, then it works. And lo and behold, I didn't really notice anything significant, not even the placebo effect, there's nothing there. And part of the reason I think is because once again, it's found in your protein powder. So I got this popular company's glutamine. It's about 5 grams of L-glutamine per scoop, which I take per day. Now let's look at my trusty, you know, random Costco brand protein. And there is 3.87 grams of glutamic acid. Now, are they technically the same thing? No, they're not. But from, you know, I've done a little bit of research, and it seems that they are interchangeable between the two inside the body. So once again, if I take a scoop or 2 of this protein powder, which I tend to do every day, then it turns out I'm getting the same, slightly less, or slightly even more glutamic acid, or glutamine, again, 2 interchangeable, per day. Okay guys, I saved the best for last, and by best I mean this is the king of the crap. This is the stuff that nobody should spend their money on, and unfortunately I have spent my money on because I was once young and stupid and wanted to get really jacked really fast. and that is test boosters, natural test boosters. Stuff is just complete crap. Other supplements, fine. They're amino acids, they're, like creatine, they're stuff naturally found in your body or in food. That's okay to a certain extent. If you're gonna go to pre-workout, that's just coffee, fancy coffee, that's okay. But this stuff is trying to naturally fake what steroids do. And trust me, nothing can naturally fake what steroids do besides steroids. If you want that to happen, just go take a steroids. Go do the real thing. You can Google steroids.com. I'm sure you can buy it on there, from India for like 30 bucks and it'll send it over. It's not that hard. But these natural test boosters, they don't work. The most popular example, in my opinion, is this tribulus, this like natural plant extract, which, when taken in in the ancient tribes, supposed to boost testosterone, and it's been thought to do the same, in modern Western civilization. That is just crap. I took this stuff, I bought it, it's cheap as hell, it's like 10 bucks a bottle. It should be nothing per bottle. In fact, you should pay me just for putting random crap in my body. And, it did nothing for me. And if I was actually smart when I took this, I think I was 18 years old, and did even like a modest 5 minutes of research, I would have realized that there is absolutely no evidence that this stuff works. And then there is limited cases of guys in their 40s and 50s when their testosterone is already dipped. If they take this stuff, maybe they get a little bit of increased libido, and that's about it. Maybe they'll break out a little bit, but is there actually any considerable, measurable increase in, free testosterone leading to increased ability to put on muscle? No, not at all. If it's not going to happen for guys in their 40s and 50s, it is not going to happen for, guys in their, who's like 18, 20, 25 or whatever, like me. Our testosterone is already pretty damn high for our age. ZMA is another popular one. This one's supposed to help you sleep, and in that sense is going to boost your testosterone. I don't know about that, but I do associate, better, longer quality sleep with increased testosterone, but I don't think you need some drug to do that. I think you just have to set aside more time to sleep. That's about it. All these other stuff, some of them are really expensive. I've seen test boosters for as high as 70 bucks. And again, IFBB pros are saying, I take this stuff, it tastes great. Really? You're taking this weird random test booster found with some magical oil plant derivative found in the Andes? You're not just pumping in GH and insulin and like clenbuterol, whatever the hell that is? No. It's the plant extract. That's what it is. Guys, again, take all this stuff with a grain of salt. I've done some research on this, but if you guys disagree with me, leave a comment below. I want to hear with you. I know some stuff, but I don't know everything. And the most important thing I want to say is that supplements, they're not a bad thing. There are some that don't really work, and some of them are just essentially snake oil and like magic in a bottle, and it's not going to do anything, and you're going to waste your money. But that doesn't mean that they're all like that. Some of them really do aid in your personal physical development, but again, they're not a necessity. You can make fantastic gains just with healthy food, sleep, and training, and a little bit of luck and genetics would help too. But that's it. Supplements, I've heard from good natural bodybuilders, at most will represent 5 to maybe 10% of their physical development in the long run. Do you need it? Absolutely not. Can it make your life a little bit simpler? Yes, if you take the right ones, the ones that you did your research on, the ones that you honestly feel give you an effect besides the stupid placebo effect. Okay, that's it for me, guys. Go out there, be safe, be healthy, have fun.